Now, welcome to another weekend ramble, where this time the topic is going to be
Suburbia and Star Wars from the Skeleton Crew.
from the trailer that we saw.
Yes.
Okay.
This has drawn a lot of attention, a lot of controversy. It's a brand new show. They're trying to move things forward on Disney Plus, and they presented Earth?
Yeah. I mean, just straight up Suburbia.
Suburbia.
Not very well. I mean, we talked about it in, I think, our review for the trailer. You could have maybe done a little different colored grass or something a little different, right?
Yeah, give me some purple grass and yellow sky
Sure.
and
Yeah. It was very similar
weirdly
to the...
shaped houses. Everything looked
Yeah.
way too... I mean, concrete.
Yeah, well, we see concrete and stuff.
I know, but it's concrete. There's lines in the road.
We really don't see much concrete in terms of the way we see it in this trailer.
Sidewalks.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it reminded me of the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where they go to the very Earth-like
Yes.
planet. It felt just like that.
This is a regular neighborhood.
Yes.
The houses all look very similar, like when you're in a subdivision. The buses look like Earth buses. I mean, in Kenobi, they took a transport bus-looking
Yeah.
thing, and it was very different. Bridges with the water, with the, like, man-made...
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, as we talked about, like, is there a possibility that there is a planet like that in Star Wars? Certainly. You got an entire galaxy. I'm sure a planet could end up looking just like Earth, or maybe not just like, but similar, sure. But does it need to be shown? Does that not kind of pull you out of Star Wars? Like I said, it very much reminded me of that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 moment where they go to that planet. I was just like, okay, well, this is just kind of weird. And then to see it in Star Wars makes it even weirder.
Right, because in Star Wars, we've gone to so many different planets. Even the city world of Coruscant doesn't look like New York City.
No, I mean, it has a vaguely similar with the skyscrapers, but not with the floating traffic. And I mean, I guess you could make an argument it looks kind of like an Earth city, right?
I suppose.
A little.
Maybe? The architecture and stuff is so wildly different.
Yeah, I think that's what helps it, is it kind of has different art, more flowing architecture than a lot of the cities here on Earth do.
Yeah, I mean, we have heard some, I guess you can say, justification as to why it looks the way it does. We've heard them say that this is supposed to be, like, wish fulfillment for kids.
From the 80s?
Yeah. It's supposed to be, like, no, they mean current kids. That has to mean current kids, because they wouldn't be talking about the kids from the 80s, because they're not kids anymore. They're saying this is wish fulfillment for kids.
Some of us are, but that's
allowing them to imagine themselves entering the greater Star Wars galaxy just like the 4 kids from the Skeleton Crew will, because they're going to leave a world that's so similar to what we know and head off into the unknown where we assume things will get more alien.
I totally understand that line of thinking. I don't know that it works the way they want it to work.
Because how many kids are watching Star Wars?
Well, I mean, I think that's a big problem. Is I don't think the current generation, the young generation, whatever you want to call them, Gen A or whatever they are nowadays.
I think that's what they are now.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot of kids are just watching Star Wars today. I don't know that it's caught on with the younger generations. I don't know that necessarily, like, riding around on bikes and using, like, walkie-talkies and kind of, like, going out and exploring is what a lot of kids experience in their childhood anymore. Certainly 80s kids who were feral and just roamed, which is true. I
in
mean,
a way, it's tailored to the 80s kids, because the bikes with the streamers and
just
exploring
going out
with your friends, that was life.
That was the literal 80s. You would just get on your bike and go ride miles away from your home with your friends and explore.
Those 80s kids are adults, and they're going, okay, I get what you're going for, but you could keep the premise of the bikes and stuff and kids going on an adventure and just make things a little more alien. Because if we know Star Wars, every planet is pretty much one biome, which means this entire planet is a suburbs full of commuting families.
I mean, I don't know that it has to be that way. I think it has just kind of been that way by default. I wouldn't have a problem with this planet having multiple different, biomes and such. But I mean, you look at, we can go back to A New Hope, right? The first Star Wars movie. Luke is a moisture farmer on Tatooine, and everybody related to him because it wasn't about, like, necessarily his setting and what his real life was like, right? That we could relate to the farm boy on the moisture farm, because nobody can. We don't have moisture farms here on Earth, so
Right.
I don't know that you needed to go quite so.
It's like you could understand his desire to
Yeah,
move
you could-
on
yes.
from the simple life to go out there
Yes.
and explore the bigger world. We didn't need to have a world that looked just like our world for us to relate and understand that.
Yeah, it's almost like it's saying, things kids are just nowadays can't use their imagination to even relate to or empathize with a child who isn't exactly growing up in their neighborhood. I mean, not every kid is growing up in suburbia anyway nowadays, right? A lot of them aren't.
That's true. Nowadays, kids are growing up all over the place.
You could be growing up in a city. You can be growing up in the country. You could be growing up, any number of places. So I don't know that you necessarily are capturing an entire generation of kids because you put it in suburbia.
I hate seeing these articles that are saying that, oh, if you criticize this suburbia planet, you're missing the point.
Well, I've seen a couple articles like that, and they
They're-
always do that. They're
they
always
always
trying to
do.
get you to click and get you frustrated because they know they don't have anything of substance to really talk about, so they're trying to get
they're
you.
missing the point, too.
Yeah, it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. Everyone who watches this is expecting this kind of
Yeah.
alien world, something fantastical every minute. I mean,
Well, not necessarily every minute, but I get what you're saying. Like,
When I
around
watch-
every corner, you're going to see
I watch
something.
Lord of the Rings. I don't expect it to take place in the suburbs.
Well, I mean, in a way, Hobbiton is kind of an idealized society.
And yet
in
it's
a
totally
sort of way.
different.
Not for everybody. Obviously, not everybody would want to grow up in Hobbiton, but you get what I mean. It's
Right,
very like.
but the whole thing is very alien, yet being familiar.
Yes.
The houses
yes.
are
Yeah,
literally
they're holes in the ground. Yeah.
holes in the ground with round doors because they
Yeah,
they
it's
kept
different.
familiar, but they changed it up so much that it's still fresh and new. This, I mean, Ithorian walking a dog.
It doesn't fit. It
It's
doesn't
a-
make
yeah.
any sense. Yeah.
I mean, even the classroom here's all of your desk. Oh, look, there's a kid with a tablet. Yes, Star Wars has tablets and stuff.
Sure. Data pads. Yeah.
But I
We've seen a
want
classroom
something to be
before, too, in
exciting
Mando.
and different and new.
Yeah, I think you're. You know what the funny part is? I think you're less likely to draw kids' attention with something mundane than you
Right,
would have
they're-
been with something kind of.
The trailer hasn't caught my attention. It hasn't hit fire because everything looks like normal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, once they get off this planet, I think it's going to be Star Wars. But it's also one of those things where it's like, if you really, you care about the canon, and like I said, there could be an Earth-like suburbia planet, but it feels so out of place that it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It feels like you are sacrificing kind of the continuity or the integrity of the galaxy to lure in kids that aren't going to care about it anyway, aren't going to get lured in by what you're trying to lure them in with.
Exactly.
I mean, if you put this trailer in 1987, right, and it's like you see this kind of suburbia planet in Star Wars, and it's like very Goonies-esque, maybe that works. It probably works actually really well.
Right.
I just don't think it works on today's kids, and maybe it's not aimed at them. Maybe it is literally aimed at the kids of the 80s who are adults now. I don't know.
I'm hoping that's the case because if it was aimed at kids nowadays, you'd think that the child stars or maybe even Jude Law would be replaced by people that kids know.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, I understand the one kid. He was in Encanto, but he was a voice actor. It's a little different.
It's a lot
Kids
different, yeah.
connect more with visual.
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
Right. They're not going to go, hey, that's the voice of the. Then
Maybe they will. I don't know.
maybe they will. And I'm just saying, they aren't using kid actors that other kids would know or recognize.
And I mean, also in the trailer, like, oh, he's a Jedi. Like, I don't really know that kids are like, oh, that's so cool. Like,
he's a
they're going to go off with a
Jedi.
Jedi, even though he's probably not a Jedi.
And if he is a Jedi, he's going to need to be redeemed because he's going to be shady.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big problem is this is trying to appeal to a generation of Star Wars fans that do not exist, and what they're trying to use to create them is not going to work.
Right. If
It's
this is
just-
meant to bring in new fans, it won't work. Young Jedi Adventures is honestly a better way to get new fans.
Well, yeah, and
Because-
that's much younger.
Oh, yeah, it's
target,
preschool,
Yeah, but I get what you're
but
saying.
it's colorful. There's aliens. It's interesting.
I just don't know that kids care about Star Wars.
No.
I mean, I'm not
There's
saying that
too much
just
to
be-
care about.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know that it resonates with this generation. I don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there will be people in the comments. My kids love Star. Sure, but overall, I mean, compared to the original trilogy, all kids, not all, but all kids love Star Wars. The prequels came along. All kids love the prequels. I mean, I don't know that the sequels did that, and I don't know that this is going to do that either.
So to sum it up, I don't like Suburbia. I guess I understand what they think they were going for, but it just doesn't work for me.
I think it's a strange choice.
It
you
is
could have done
strange.
Suburbia and you could have aliened it up.
Alien it up.
Yeah.
You could put Suburbia in a setting and just render things different colors, and that would at least be enough to differentiate it a little.
Yeah, honestly, a more high-tech thing, I think, would appeal more to kids than Suburbia, again, riding around on your bikes.
Well,
and...
like you said, this is Star Wars. It looks like they're at a school for possibly gifted kids. They all have that little, like, tan jacket with the emblem.
Yeah.
So I would almost expect them to live in a higher tech society.
Yeah, I think that would have actually resonated more with kids who have grown up on the internet with tablets and phones and are just used to that sort of thing. It doesn't... it would be like, you know, if Goonies had taken place in the 60s, right? I mean, sure. I mean... probably still resonates with, because you got movies like Stand By Me and stuff that are, you know, I guess it's a bad example, but my point is, like, I really don't know that, like, a kid of 2024 is relating to 1980s Earth. I just don't think that's working.
This is not Ready Player One.
No. I mean, I think that would have actually made more sense to have that kind of a more futuristic society, honestly, than something that, like, resembles what we think Earth will be like in 10 to 15 years would have made more sense than what Earth was like 40 years ago.
I agree.
I don't know. Is it a huge deal? Probably not, because they're probably going to get off the planet in the first episode anyway.
1.5 to 2 episodes.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. Just an interesting discussion. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, I want to know what everyone else
I'm curious.
thinks, though.
I'm curious what people think about this, because I've seen a lot of different takes. I've seen people like, oh, it's no big deal, and others like, this just destroys Star Wars because it's too earthy. So I guess now it is your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think about this. Do you like having Suburbia in Star Wars, or do you think it is really kind of breaks Star Wars in a way? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.